Good day everyone, I am Steffanie Dulguime and you can call me Teacher Steph. And I am here to share with you about the information of cognitive learning and development. Did you know that the brain perceives all information through the senses? The first newborn stage of learning is the sensory motor period. It describes the active perceptual work of infants to do study faces, to remember smells, and to touch and taste everything they can bring to their lips. So even if they are in the womb, infants are taking in sensory information such as the sounds and the light. Infants are born with surprisingly well-organized perceptual systems. Seeing. Newborns are able to visually follow movements within a distance of 9 to 12 inches. Although the focus of them is a little bit fuzzy, but it still provides them with the wonderful ability to look into his mother's eyes as she is feeding him from the breast or another family member's eyes as he cuddles him with a bottle. Wow fact! By 6 months of age, the infant's range of vision has stretched to focus on greater distances. While by 9 months, he can see as well as an adult at both close range and distances. Edges and lines. One of the infant's tasks is to organize the images they see and the sound they hear into a recognizable and understandable order. Using their vision, very young infants study images with a high contrast between light and dark areas, and their eyes travel along the edges of objects as they learn where one object ends and one begins. Hearing. Infants are able to hear even before they are born. Newborns recognize sounds that are familiar to them, and these hearing milestones are observed in relation to the baby's attention to language. Beginning at birth, babies turn toward the sound and they pay attention to sounds in the environment such as the caregivers talking to them or talking quietly to them. And between 4 and 8 months of age, infants understand a few words such as "papay" or "no." And they will start cooing and bubbling and imitating words. And they begin to intentionally use simple words such as "mama" or "dada." Touch. The skin is the largest organ in the body and infants are very sensitive to touch. Infants use touch for comfort, for stimulation, and to learn about the world. Touch has many beneficial effects. In fact, some intensive care nurseries uses touch with premature infants. In the practice called Kangaroo Care, parents hold their premature infants in skin-to-skin contact on their chest for several hours a day. And studies shows these babies regulate their heart rate, sleep longer, grow faster, and maintain their body temperature. Smelling and tasting. The sense of smell develops quickly in the newborn and seems to be used to help the baby recognize his mother. At birth, babies are able to taste sweet, sour, or bitter. Babies prefer sweet taste and will bring their hands to their mouths when given something sweet in the first week of life. In fact, some cultures such as those in Egypt, Mexico, Jamaica, and India give newborns sweet-tasting liquids to help them stay calm and sleep. The breast milk is also very sweet. Although most babies do not taste salt until about 4 months, but studies shows that babies with a family history of hypertension are able to taste salt at 2 days and they prefer it to other tastes. These studies suggest that salt sensitivity may be related to a predisposition to hypertension. Babies show highly individual differences in their taste preference, and some infants welcome the introduction of new foods at about 6 months of age, and others demonstrate very clearly their preference for staying with the familiar. It is unclear if the differences are related to how babies taste differences or whether it has more to do with their temperament and the desire to take risks versus to keep everything pretty much the same. A modal learning. Babies use their senses together, and they're able to take information through one sense and translate it into usable information for another sense. This happens even when the second sense had never been exposed to the object, and they are also able to combine information from two or more senses. Core knowledge. It is a theory that says as an infant, we are most likely to learn the things that are important for our survival and evolution as a species. Our genes seems to store some basic knowledge about the world and what is important to know. Basically, core knowledge is about what we learn. Any environment is a display of lights, sounds, and shapes for young infants. Objects. Infants have an idea about how objects behave, and they know within months that object stays in one piece and move as a whole. They know that if a solid object breaks into pieces, that object will be traveling into different directions. They expect that objects to obey gravity, and they're surprised if an object seen sitting on a table stays in the air or if the table is removed. They know that objects travel in a smooth arcing shape. They also know that objects can travel through solid boundaries or occupy the same space as other objects. Regulation. Regulation is the ability to manage one's physical and emotional reactions to internal and external events. In infancy, regulation relies on the help of an adult. The child's ability to self-regulate grows during the first 3 years, and we are still working on it as an adult. The working memory. The working memory is the ability to hold information and use it. For example, a 2-year-old is trying to stuff a long string of beads into a canister, and he's very focused. But his friends comes by and show him a photograph of a new dog. He looks at it and says, "Pretty gawky." Then he turns back to his bead and canister project because he held it in his memory. Self-control. It enables us to set priorities and resist impulsive action or responses. Approaches to learning. It describes how the children learn. First is the attention. The attention is the ability to focus on one interaction or experience without being easily distracted. So, basically, self-regulation helps the infant use executive function and effort will control it. And attention is the first step in learning. Second is the memory. A working memory describes the ability to take in new information while holding known information in mind. It seems that younger infants use several signals such as place, context, and other connection to chunk information in order to use it at a later time. Even very young babies show the ability to remember actions from a week or before. Infant and toddler teachers will begin to notice that young infants remember how they played with a toy earlier in the day. Older infants and toddler may remember where a favorite toy is kept. Third is curiosity. Curiosity is the infant's and toddler desire to explore and understand himself. Curiosity is the infant's and toddler's desire to explore, understand himself and the people around him and also his world. John Bowlby described it as the balancing system to the attachment relationship. Infants have a huge inborn desire to explore, and the attachment relationship balances the desire to explore. The infant has an equally strong desire to be near her attachment figure, and this stops her from moving out of a visual contact with the person most likely to keep her safe. The infant and toddler teacher promotes curiosity by having a safe environment, interesting, and responsive materials. Zone of Proximal Development was developed by a Soviet psychologist and social constructivist named Lev Vygotsky. ZPD is defined as the range of tasks that a child can perform with the help and guidance of others but cannot yet perform independently. Scaffolding is directly related to Zone of Proximal Development, and in that, it is the support mechanism that helps a learner successfully perform a task within his or her ZPD. Basically, it is the set of information or skills that is beyond what the child knows, but within what a child could learn and understand with support from a more knowledgeable other person. For example, a 2-year-old is dressing himself. He may become frustrated when both legs go into the same pant leg. So, the infant and toddler teacher may offer the trick to starting out with the pants laid out and putting a foot into each pant leg. With that one bit of assistance, the child can successfully get any pair of pants on any time. So here are the developmental trends and responsive interaction. Basically, cognitive learning and development is when the infants and toddlers learn about themselves, others, and the world through their own unique abilities by utilizing the cognitive tools of learning. Here, you can see all the examples of the development from birth to 18 months. And that's it for my part. I hope you've learned something from me. And now, we will go to another topic that will be tackled by Teacher Diane.
Hi students! I am Teacher Diane. So now, let's talk about language, learning, and development. Communication is the giving of information through talk, signs, cues, words, or writings. Infant may communicate with I. Ibig sabihin nun, interested sila sa'yo. Kapag nakipag-eye to eye yung infant. Language is the ability to use words. Signs, if language is one of the sign of language of deaf, ginagamit ng deaf yung sign language, isa yun sa mga method kung saan dahil doon mas napapahayag niya yung gusto niyang iparating sa taong nakikinig or sa taong gusto niyang bigyan ng message. So, sa gender naman, girls gesture, talk earlier, combine words earlier, and have larger vocabularies than boys. However, girls is slightly ahead of boys. So, sa temperament, infants and toddlers differ in how they express themselves. Other children, in-express nila sa pag distress sila, pag sad, or di kaya galit. Other children naman, na-express nila sa sarili kapag masaya sila, may pag-excitement, joy. So now, let's talk about receptive language. It is a listening and understanding. Example, sinabihan ko yung kapatid ko na, Donna May, aalis tayo. Naiintindihan niya na aalis kami at siya ay magbibase agad ng panglakad na damit. Prior to birth, in receptive language, infants are practicing listening sound habang nasa womb pa sila ng mga mother nila. Sa birth to 4 months naman, babies are ready to speak any language that they hear frequently, as they can distinguish and make all sound in all language. 8 to 12 months, during this stage, infants have added listening abilities that contribute to learning a language well. 12 to 18 months, young toddler can follow simple strategies or directions of parents or adult. 18 to 36 months, toddlers are accomplished at what is called fast mapping, quickly attaching a name to object. So, sa expressive language naman, it is a communication with gestures, words, and sounds. So, birth to 4 months. Babies communicate in a variety of ways. For example, cry. Ibig sabihin na nagugutom or may masakit sa kanya, doon, na-express niya yung gusto niyang sabihin sa mother niya or di kaya nararamdaman niya. 4 to 8 months, infants begin to demonstrate through their movements, facial expression. They anticipate that their sounds and nonverbal communication will get reaction from adults. 8 to 12 months, infants this age want to communicate with you or with us. Sa adult, yung mga nakakasama nila. 12 to 18 months, infants likely to begin to point objects or people using index finger. 18 to 36 months, toddler use mostly words, not gesture. Because most of people around them, naobserbahan nila na nag-use ng words. So, dahil doon, na-adapt nila yon. Pragmatics is the purpose of language. Toddler may heard say no. They mean rejecting, refusing, or informing adult depending on the text. Example are toddlers that are 12 to 18 months. They uses gestures, sounds, and words to reject, request, question, comment, refuse, demand, and inform adults. Prosody, the music of language. If a parent says, "Come here," in a tone means I have something special for you, probably using pleasant or warm tone. This example shows how prosody or intonations, rhythm, or emphasis on words create different meanings. Children with special needs. Infants and toddlers differ in how they develop and use language. As we observe, infant and toddlers, we also see the difference in the ages at which infants and toddlers begin to speak. Diba, naka-experience na tayo na mga pamangkin natin, kapatid, diba, sa edad pa lang nila, diba, makikita natin yung improvement kung deliver sila sa language. As a future educator, dapat alam natin yun. Most developmental charts indicate that 12 months infant, first words, nagsasalita na siya ng first word, then 18 months, 2 words na yun. It is very important to identify language delay because at an early age of a child, it predicts later challenges of reading and language. Difference may occur to a variety reasons including biological and environmental. One primary reason is that there are differences on how much children exposed to language. Dito napapasok yung expressive and receptive. The more yung bata is na-expose sa magulang na talkative, dito yung bata, na-adapt niya yun and doon na-improve yung language niya, yung vocabulary niya. Another reason for language delay may be hearing impairment. The pronunciation of sounds as well as child's vocabulary and syntax development will all be affected by hearing challenge. So now, I will give the 12 learning language within relationship. The first one is build relationship. Be an empathetic language partner. Number 2, respond and take turns. Number 3, respond to non-verbal communication. Number 4, use self-talk and parallel talk. Number 5, talk often with child. Number 6, use joint attention strategies. Number 7, use the 4Es approach. Encourage, extend, elaborate, and expand. Number 8, use semantically responsive talk. Number 9, use infant-directed speech. Number 10, use question and control carefully. Number 11, listen with your eyes. Number 12, read sing, use finger, play, and social games like.
Hi! In today's vlog, we will talk about the infant and toddler profession. So what is infant and toddler profession? It focuses on the professional who experience the relationship-based or reflective program. The infant and toddler track is intended for early childhood professionals serving children ages 6 weeks up to 3 years in central-based program. Teaching and nurturing infant and toddler is critically important work. In these early years, the child's brain is being built so that they need a professional who help and guide them. You may think that the professions are medicines, law, and education of older children and adults. However, the field of early childhood meets the requirements of a profession. Look at these elements. Infant and toddler professionals nurture and teach a new generation of citizens. When you do work well, the well-being of society is being served. We may consider an emerging profession. We are building the competence of profession. Our professions has standards, a code of ethics, a description of competencies, and best practices. The National Association for Education of Young Children, or NAE, has standards for early education professionals. These standards includes the values of the profession, identify the knowledge, skills, and disposition. And lastly, these standards are taught in an approved college or university that is recognized by NAE as an accredited institution. NAEG and CEC has developed the codes of ethical conduct for early childhood professionals. A code of ethics states the values of profession and the guidelines for responsible behavior. Section 1 identifies the ethical responsibilities to children. Section 2 identifies the ethical responsibilities to families. Section 3 identifies the ethical responsibilities to colleagues. And lastly, Section 4 identifies the ethical responsibilities to community and society. Infant and toddler teachers are encouraged to become familiar with this code of ethics and apply it to their work with children, families, colleagues, and the community and society. The DEC and CEC has developed a code of ethics for professionals with working with children with disabilities. Professions have the professional organization. NAEC is the largest professional organization in our field. It promotes high-quality early learning for all young children birth through age 8 by connecting early childhood practices, policy, and research. The DEC in the CEC is the professional organization for early intervention and early childhood education. CERT offers membership to people working with infants and toddlers. The infant-toddler teachers' work is different from those who work with older children. Infants and toddlers are highly vulnerable and evoke strong feelings in adults. Self-knowledge is important in managing those feelings. The field is young and needs advocates to work for appropriate standards and funding. The infant and toddler field is built on relationship, a relationship with children, families, colleagues, and employers. The prime difference between infant toddler teacher, and professional who work with adults or older children, centers the intensity and intimacy of the relationship. There is physical and emotional intensity about working with infants and toddlers, and this work provides more intimate contact and physical support with infants and toddlers than they do when they working with older children. Performs the most intimate routines with the child, like holding, feeding, toileting, and drying their ears. The emotional nature of the work requires that children develop an emotional attachment to an adult. It is professional for adults to have an emotional connection with each other. Infants and toddlers need that to thrive. Young children use the relationship to develop their sense of self-worth. The primary work of infant-toddler teacher is to support the parent-child relationship. Infant-toddler teacher provides information and emotional support to families. The ideas may conflict with some parents about what is best for the children, or it gives them a jealousy. More so than infant-toddler teacher must be very close relationship to families, constantly sharing information, negotiating with conflicts, and enthusiastically supporting with the parent-child relationship.
If you want to know more about infant and toddler profession, Miss Maria Sofia Mangibin will give you some information about it.
Good day! So today I will continue what Teacher Jocel have discussed. This will fall under the infant and toddler profession. The relationship with the other staff. Adults works as a team in infant and toddler care and learning programs. So teacher works closely together, often in a small space. They need to respect each other's style in terms of interacting with the children. Because a good employee is able to listen in constructive feedbacks, this will help them to learn and improve their performance well. Self-knowledge. Infant and toddler teacher must have self-awareness. This means that they are aware with their feelings, behavior, that they are being realistic. Adults who are working with infants and toddlers should be comfortable with the closeness and intimacy. They also need to handle separation and grieving. Above all, when infants and toddlers teachers are self-reflective, we can better manage our emotional responses, better recognize our limitations, and lastly, better leverage our skills and strengths. Becoming an advocate. The role of being advocate to your children, families, community, programs, and yourself is the last characteristic of infant-toddler program that we will discuss. An advocate is an enthusiastic supporter for a cause. We hope that you will become an advocate for the importance of early years of the relationship-based practice. Advocates stay informed about possible changes through their professional organizations. Professional development. This is just the beginning of your learning as a professional. So we hope that you stay in the field and keep growing as a future teacher. So there are many ways that you might continue your learning. You may take more classes, work with a coach, attend professional conferences, and lastly, you can read journals. Classes. A unifying foundation promotes a requirement of bachelor degree for people who are working with infants and toddlers. However, they recognize that compensation will significantly increase to make coursework worthwhile for the workforce. Coaching. It is an ongoing relationship of coach and a coachee of observation, reflection, and conversation. It is aimed for improvement of practice of children and families. Coaching has gained popularity for the practice of change, in early childhood education for the past decades. Overall, coaching may focus on the competencies or standards. Meetings. State and local affiliates regularly hold conferences, presentations, and meetings to provide specialized training. Journals. Professions share information through journals. Some journals share strategies for classroom or for home visits. It is aimed for a wider field, including child care, infant mental health, and lastly, early interventions. Developing professional relationship-based community. The skills needed to create a supportive and inspiring workplace includes respect, reflect, and also relate. We can apply this concept of professional relationship with others as well as the relationship with their children. Respect with relationships in mind. Respect with your colleagues includes recognizing with their humanity. So each person needed to feel as if they are contributing and valued member of the team. The need for emotional connections is just as strong as adults as it is for children. And each person has strengths and can contribute in many ways. Besides respecting the strengths of others, you can also reflect on your own. Emotional and recognition needs as a team member. And how are you contributing to the program? Reflect with relationships in mind. Despite reflecting on and using great communication skills, conflict happens. So infant and toddler teachers should work closely together. Relate with relationships in mind. Relate to others by developing and committing to agreements. Agreements that are created with a collaborative way make explicit basic value for how professionals will treat each other. Agreements are necessary for those times when the core values how professionals treat each other are violated. However, responding to others with compassionate and caring way that supports positive relationships can usually prevent troubles and lead to mutually satisfying solutions to problems. Reflective supervisions is a collaborative relationship professional growth that improves programs' quality and practice by cherishing strengths for the reason that infant and toddlers are vulnerable or sometimes frustrating. Mentoring and being mentored. Mentors are guides and role models who help whomever they are mentoring. They are capable of developing a supportive relationship that is based on trust and confidentiality. The responsibilities of mentors includes share information, share teaching strategies or informations, guide and give ideas, observe and discuss what has observed, promote self-observation and also analysis. Lastly, encourage reflection and model professionalism. In the first chapter, we said that our goal is that for you to gain appreciation for how vitally important the prenatal period and the first 3 years of life of the children and the future adults that they will become. Our goal is that you become knowledgeable and gain passion for promoting well-being, competence, and qualities of life for infant and toddlers and their families. We hope that we accomplished our goal.
And there you have it. Thank you for watching. We hope that you learned and enjoyed this vlog.
You can comment any suggestions that you want for our next vlog. And also, don't forget to hit the like and share button. And also, you can subscribe. Thank you for watching.